So thank you so much. Right now, ñu ngi wax Mayor Talib Bensouda koo xam ne United Democratic Party la de support moom tamit nekkoon na koo xam ne of course gisoon nañ ko in Kiang si vidéo boo xam ne demoon na viral demoon na fa ak teamam bi yëpp pour campagne of course di candidate United Democratic Party bi si by election boo xam ne xew na Kiang mais gis nañ ne seen candidate bi win na lan nga foog ne ban strategy ngeen use as a campaign team to pour gis ne seen candidate bi win in Kiang.
Thank you, Buba. Mangla Santa de la Gerem. First of all, in the party ranking, I'm the organizing secretary. I'm chairman of the campaign and organizing committee. So I work very closely with the campaign manager, Karafasonko. Kiang election binak is always difficult to do by-election because by-election is an isolated election. Usually party structures on both sides they converge on a small area. So lolu day tax mu jafe and mu intimate. One day yalla def na we had a good strategy on the ground and most of it was to decentralize swing campaign through using the local structures. So ñi ngay gërëm tam chairman landing bi Sané nga xamné the chairman of Mansakonko area council. And he was directly on the ground to make sure that his councillor won. The Gerem Tam Lamin Sane, he's part of UDP's finance committee on the mountain wa Kiang la. But really, credit goes to everybody because so by her campaign, it was a united front. This name for Lord Mayor Banjul, Chairman Yankuba Davo, this name several executive members ñu nga xam ne ñëpp dem nañ to join the campaign. And politics is a technical sport. As much as amna ambience, amna a lot of verbal discussions would convince voters, most of it definitely is technical. You just have to go through past results, review the support base, fan nga am doole, fan nga weak, strategize your campaign effort accordingly. On the wax dëgg yàlla credit goes mostly to everybody, but especially landing bi Sané ku nga xam ne mooy chairman Mansakonko area council.
So May, what was so special about this election? Just nañ of course NPP yóbbu nañ fa ay ministers but and also diplomats. Why just nañ the United Democratic Party also gis nañ la yow dem nga foofu mayor chairman comme noo ko waxee Yankuba Dabo dem na fa gis nañ fa Lord Mayor of course Rohey Malick Lowe ak ñeneen ñoo xam ne dem nañ. What was so special about this election?
Man nag war naa faa nekk because I am the chairman of the campaign and organizing. Wante soo gisee tam yeneen mayors yi ak yeneen party executives yëpp ñëw foofu. I think more than anything it was a reaction to NPP. Seen minister yi di fa dem, seen ambassador yi, seen presidential advisor yi. And the rumored amount of funds bu ñu fa dugal mooy $6 million. But to be honest, there is nothing extraordinary or special about this election. Ñun sax we were quite surprised the level of attention buko the NPP jox because it's a by-election of a councillor ku nga xam ne dem yàlla la dafa génn àdduna na untimely death. So by-election moom of especially a council seat, there's 120 councillors ci dëkk bi. So there's nothing special about one council seat. Wante ñoom attention buñ ko jox moo ñu xala surprise as to what was so important about this election. But later we discovered and realized for them, this election, family, it was a litmus test for what is to come 2026. So the dañu gëm ne election is a test run. Mais suñu winee bi lolu is an indication of what is to come for 2026. So definitely it's a very bad result for them. Because one, they have invested a lot of resources. Two, they have used all of their high-profile members, including cabinet members, to convince the people locally on the ground. And you have this kind of failure. So I think it's definitely a bad result for the MPP, given the level of attention and investment being ci dugal.
mais ñu gis ne bi nga fa demee da nga def benn vidéo boo xam ne dem na viral waaye the National People's Party ñu bari tontu nañ la of course am minister Demba Sabali and also Sidi Ndiaye tontu nañ la si vidéo boobu noonu lan mooy sa réaction after bi nga dégluwee gars seen tontu yi.
Well, man buma wax, I didn't expect a big reaction because no matter what is factual and it's not personal or to Ken. Johonyuma Ken in specific. Them don't talk about government wastefulness, mismanagement of resources, and using actual facts and figures that actually came out from their mouth. Ñom ñoo tender OIC vehicles. You release the vehicles they bought, the Land Cruisers, were $12 million each. And you just as Gambians, we believe that when they bought those expensive vehicles, spending about $1 billion on about 100 vehicles, after event, they would have sold it to the private sector. While they would have found a way to make commercial use of it for government be recoup the investment, because how can you spend such an obscene amount of money on a 2-day event for one of the poorest countries in the world and the tiniest economy in Africa? You must spend $15 million or $1 billion on luxury vehicles. To our surprise, right after the summit, you talk at their level, you say that the vehicles among themselves. We all also looked at the price. We all thought these were overpriced vehicles, because I'm not price a Land Cruiser, even if you go online or you go to CFRO. I don't think Land Cruisers cost $12 million. But anyway, that's a debate for another time. What I was saying, and that many Gambians concerned, after you spend this amount of money, instead of vehicle, you recoup Sahali, or you commercialize them to make the government money, you share it amongst yourselves as cabinet minister. And in the president's position, mom, like I said, 20 vehicles out of those brand new vehicles, and this is fact. Tomorrow, at any point in time, you can go count. So my message to Masembe was, these people are now coming here telling you, yen sen community bu nga xamne amut tali, amut ndox, amut community center, amut health clinic, amut any facilities. They are coming to you and telling you, so ñu sanile karta, we are going to bring those facilities. So my question was, now Gambia dafa tollu fu nga xamne buba dañu wara nek critical thinkers, ñu dé bay xel. You buy political naxaate ak di toppa emotion or sentiment such as tribe ak lu nga xam ne du ñu njëriñ nit su ñëwee di la wax dara yow da nga war a analyse mu ngi ñëw in a $12 million ci car di la promise ne na la defal clinic or na la defal facilities. As a voter yow loo war a laaj sa bopp well balaa nga spend xaalis bi on the car you are driving or president bi di use these vehicles just to escort him. Why not cancel those activities? Invest in community even before an election. Why does it have to take an election for you to promise development in my community? Secondly, just the day before, they had announced that they had spent over $100 million for independence celebration. Independence celebration could have been very quiet and low key and not even cost more than $10 million. But they could have cancelled it entirely. Independence message from the president, and as a goodwill gesture, this year's independence demanded celebration. Instead, the money budgeted for the independence of $150 million, I will choose a community such as Masembe, any development that will improve the quality of life of maybe 3,000 to 5,000 people. So these are the contradictions you don't want, and a lot of them they really saw it.
And ñoom tamit dañ complain ñu ne yow moto boo yóbbu Masembe is more than 7 million, and of course the Minister of Agriculture Demba Sabali moom tamit mu ne even in KMC yow mosuloo faa liggéey benn tali. Why will you take a 7 million car to Masembe?
Well, first of all, that car is not 7 million. It's my personal vehicle, and it's a private car. Mako jenak smahalis. Second of all, my mayor's official car, I never use out of official work. It parks at the office. Do they park Makerta? It parks at the office on a daily basis. And it costs $2.4 million. It's a Nissan Patrol, come Dr. C MRC, when they use. It's also a 6-year-old car. Council offer an improvement replace my car. No. I will use this car till my time in office ends. So I will use this car for 9 years. And come to man, I am one of the few politicians, or I dare say the only politician, Kunga Hamne. Council motor with their park office. Then Sisuba Munyo Jilima, 7 a.m. Then at the end of the working day, 4 p.m., 5 p.m., Mudelo Maker, Mudelo park office. So, Sidi Njai motor boom just never yakam direct, number plate B. And I think motor boom, most people have an I've been driving my private car for the past 5 years. Wow. So I think they took my comments quite personal, which is strange. Because why would you personalize? So now, a lot of these government guys, the ministers, the speaker, they know what they're doing is wrong. They use state resources for partisan politics or for personal use. I think wrong. They do it anyway, and they did not expect somebody would call them out. So I think a lot of them took it personally, and they should not. As a state minister, what I understand that your vehicle is a state asset, and you should be using your personal vehicle for politics and personal activities. So maybe they felt that it was a personal job, but from my point of view, it was educating the voter that as voters, but they are personalizing it instead of bringing development to your community.
So finally, Bayona Fongane, this Masembe election does not have any influence in 2026 presidential election?
Absolutely. I'm no politics, Buba. It's all about morale. It's the snowball effect. How much you understand the concept of a snowball effect?
No.
So a snowball effect, I guess in Western concept, a snow that they do the roll as a very tiny element. As it rolls down the hill, that they generate until it is a huge size. So snowball effect, this election is tiny, but because the victory gives UDP momentum, we can roll on that momentum until 2026, and it will become a big victory in 2026. Secondly, the amount of resources NPP Dugal see this election, the highest level of government officials, which are cabinet ministers, I could count up to 5 or 6 cabinet ministers who went on the ground to do a house-to-house campaign on 1,753 voters. Then bringing all their political bigwigs, from mobilizers to presidential advisors to ambassadors, who's of NPP, were on the ground for weeks. Putting that level of attention on one of the tiniest communities in the Gambia, and those amount of resources on one of the tiniest communities in the Gambia, and you cannot still get a win. And so whole victory, there was quite a margin of 200 votes. I think should be a wake-up call for the National People's Party. I think that you want to realize development is not about tali, kese. Development is not about just showing people infrastructure. Development is about people are hungry in this country. People are poor and destitute. You very hope of a better life tomorrow. You look at the Human Development Index, you look at education, quality of schools are quite poor, one of the poorest in the world. We are even being overtaken by Guinea-Bissau. You look at quality of healthcare, very poor. A lot of the clinics, even if they exist, medical equipment, diagnostic equipment. Forget it, you will die if you don't have money. Maternity wards, a lot of child mortality is quite high. You are dying on childbirth. You look at cost of living. Gambia whole salary. If you're lucky to have a job, the salary is poor. You look at the quality of life. Say so, I'm salary $15,000 to $20,000. There's no way you can get a decent life.
Yeah.
The majority of people are not working. So I'm salary in the first place. So then I'm youth. Gambia is almost 70% youths, meaning that is one of the youngest populations in the world. Youth there's no formal opportunity. So yet them Europe back way. Many die in the sea. Many get stuck in between in Arab countries that maltreat them and torture them and send them back or enslave them. Those who make it to Europe, so a lot of them are in concentration camps. A lot of them are deported. So, and these youths are still going, 10,000 youths a year. So, Gambia as a country has chronic problems and government is not addressing these issues. Instead, they are spending on luxury vehicles. They are spending loads of money on traveling. They seem to just be taking care of themselves. They're spending on independence celebrations, things that have no bearing on the quality of life of Gambians, overinflated infrastructure projects. So they're spending a lot on vanity, and there's a lot of mismanagement of public resources. And you enter a very difficult period because now you have Western governments that are looking inside and taking care of domestic issues. Foreign aid. Like President Trump announced now the closure of USAID and the halting of foreign aid. Even the Gambia Millennium Challenge Corporation, that MTC grant of $300 million is cancelled. So it is very important for government to get serious and understand that Gambia, man, in my opinion, is a time bomber because all these youths, when they don't have work, what are they going to do?
Yeah,
and they have to survive. So, with a lot of seriousness. So, government have to realize they have a big challenge on their hand. If even in little Masembe, where they're putting all their resources, they cannot pull a win. So I think this is a good sign for the opposition.
Thank you so much, Mayor. Thank you, Bubu. I appreciate it.